I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Brianna Jones.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew and Brie to like musical theater. And today we have one of our favorite guests, one of our favorite people, in fact. There's no bearing the lead. You read the title. It's Christi from Musical Hell. Yeah!
Hello!
Add like applause here.
Back so soon.
Applause. It's been a minute since we've had her on. It's been since Hadestown.
It has been. It's been, I think, over a year now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's actually been a while.
Okay.
Time means nothing.
Yeah.
Time
hasn't meant
paused,
anything since April, so who cares?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a mess. Vote, guys. I don't. This isn't too far from the election, so
Yo,
be sure
how
you're
about that
voting.
VP debate, guys? That was pretty cool to watch, right?
As we record this, 2 hours before it happens?
Yes.
Whoa, no trade secrets here.
Looks like those clowns in Congress did it again.
You know, the next thing that these crazy politicians are going to do, they're going to legalize, like, organ repossession. And I know...
That'd be ridiculous.
I mean, it's not the most ridiculous thing in the world.
You'd have to have, like, some sort of major corporation with lots and lots of money lobbying constantly to get something like that through Congress.
And then they'd have to, like, have this Sopranos spokesmodel that they can, replace her blind eyes and so that she becomes really popular and that she can sell all the public on it.
And Paris Hilton.
For some reason.
Well, yeah.
REPO, the genetic opera. Cue the music. REPO Man. REPO Man. It's a thankless job, but somebody's got to do it. Peeling off the tissue inch by inch, skinning off the muscles too.
Now, do repo men usually work for the company that's repossessing, or do they usually work for the state?
I think it's like an independent organization. I don't know. I've been fortunate enough never to have a repo man deal with me, so.
If you're a repo man, come and tell us, like, what's your day-to-day life? How many people do you kill per week? But REPO, the genetic opera, is a 2008 American science fiction gothic rock musical horror film. That's enough genres. Directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, with a soundtrack produced by Japanese rock star Yoshiki. Based on the 2002 musical of the same name, which was written and composed by Darren Smith and Terrence Zdunich. The film stars Alexa Vega, Paul Sorvino, Anthony Stewart Head, Sarah Brightman, Paris Hilton, Bill Moseley, Nivek Ogre, and Terrence Zdunich. REPO premiered at the Fantasia Film Festival in 2008, and it was followed by a very limited release in November 2008. On 7 screens in Pasadena, Chicago, Charlotte, Kansas City, Toronto, and Ottawa. It grossed $53,000 in its opening weekend, and a $6,711 average per theater. The film's full 11-theater release earned around $146,000 in the United States and an additional $41,000 internationally, for a total gross of $188,000 worldwide. The film initially received mixed to negative reviews, but gained a cult following similar to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, managing to fill theaters worldwide with costumed fans performing shadowcast versions of the movie, which Smith and Zdunich often visit quite often to meet fans. And yeah, that's all the background history we need.
What
Christi,
more do you need to say?
I mean, they can't say we didn't do it, though. We can't say we didn't give any background of what this show is. But, Christi, you've known about this show for a good long while. How'd you find it?
I think, it was, being talked up around the internet, because, obviously, I was, on Phantom of the Opera boards, and of course Sarah Brightman has that connection. So, people are like, oh, hey, she's gonna be in this movie. So, yeah, I saw it, and I'm like, okay, well, that was a thing that happened. It's...
Did you see it in a theater?
No, I saw it on video.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't think I was anywhere near, like, the 11 screens where that happened. But, yeah, I did that, and then, cut to about 4 years later, I'm doing Musical Hell, and that was, like, my 5th or 6th episode, somewhere in there, maybe 4th. But it was, like, in the very first year that I did Musical Hell, I did a review on REPO, and it's still out there if anybody wants to see my awful early work.
I've watched it. It's pretty good for people's early work. It's really, really up there.
It's better than our early work.
Yeah. Dead-eyed into the camera. Our early work is terrible. But let me tell a little bit about how I found this, because I find it a little funny. I don't know if any of you guys remember a review website. It's now defunct, called spill.com.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
I do remember that one, actually.
But I just go to their homepage and they released a review, and it's just Sarah Brightman's face. And I was like, what the fuck? And does she do movies? And then I listened to the review, and I was like dying to figure out what this movie was, because it's like this weird Sweeney Todd-esque like Rocky Horror musical with Sarah Brightman and Paris Hilton. And I'm like, I need to find this out. And I had to wait till Blu-ray. The day it came out on Blu-ray, I had to like go to a Meijer or Walmart or something, found it, and immediately took it home. And it was an insane experience to watch first time sight unseen.
It's like terrible and amazing at the same time.
Yes.
That's a very good way to put it.
I feel like I enjoyed it, but hated every second.
Oh, so it's like Cats.
No one enjoyed Cats.
No, I really don't enjoy Cats. I'll be honest, every single time I've seen Cats, I hated it all the way through. Whereas this is got such a great concept to it, and I just want it to work so badly, and it just doesn't.
This is one of those musicals like Moulin Rouge, where it's just unapologetically what it is. It goes hard 100% of the time, and you're either going to go along with it, or you're just going to be like, nope, I'm out.
I kind of feel like I want to watch it again, because I've only seen it once.
Right?
But I know the second I start watching it again, I'll be like, wait, why am I watching this again?
Andrew, that is the exact reaction I had when I watched this like 10 plus years ago. I finished it and I was like, I didn't like that, but I think I might have. And I immediately turned it back on again, like rewound it. Well, it turned the Blu-ray back to the beginning and was like, I need to watch this again, because the highs are very, very, very high, and the lows are like with dinosaur bones. But Mr. DeWolf, I want you to tell me what the plot of this musical is, because I feel like I'm going to get some chuckles out of that.
I mean, there's just a lot going on. You got the main character, which is the girl who thinks she's sick. Do these characters have names?
Shiloh.
I don't remember.
Shiloh.
Her name is Shiloh.
What's the father's name?
Nathan.
Nathan. Okay. So Shiloh is sick because her mother was sick, and she's not allowed to go out anywhere, and her father is a secret repo man, and he goes out into the street and murders people to take back their body parts that they got, because this whole world is obsessed with surgery. I probably should have mentioned that first. Everyone in the entire world is obsessed with surgery that they don't need at all, because it's just cool, I guess. Not that I couldn't see that happening. It's kind of an interesting concept. But for some reason, the father is like very secretive about being a repo man. He doesn't want his daughter to know. I guess probably because murdering is bad.
Murder be bad, Andrew.
But the daughter gets like lured outside all the time by this guy who's like the grave robber or something.
Yes.
Who doesn't have a point in the plot, as far as I can tell.
He's the narrator. He's like the
chorus.
MC character.
And then she also gets lured outside by the CEO of the company that basically runs the entire world, Gene Co., who also is the company that repossesses everything and the company that does all the surgeries. And as far as I can tell,
and you're forgetting that he was in love with Shiloh's mother and Nathan's wife.
I'm getting to that, okay? I'm setting...
This plot is This plot is more complex than you would
This
think
is
it
why
would
I
be.
knew it was going to be intense.
Okay, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how to even lay this out, because it
You're
doesn't
sweating. You're like...
because I kind of understood everything that happened, but it's like so ridiculous.
Did we mention that this entire movie takes place over the course of a single evening?
It does what?
Yeah, if you pay attention, you know they're always saying that the big opera at the climax is going to be tonight. So, yeah, all of this stuff, with Shiloh, getting in and out of the house all the time.
Like,
her dad's...
like three times, I think.
Her dad's going out and killing people several times. They visit, like, this weird tent carnival that they call a Renaissance fair, but doesn't look anything like a Renaissance fair. And then she's in Hooker Alley with a grave robber and seeing people get shot up with this drug Zydrate. And it's This goes all over the place, and it's
See, I don't think it's all one night though. I think it's one day, and the whole world just happens to not have a sun.
This is a lot to pack into 24 freaking hours.
This is like the first act of Rent, where it's like, no way that happened all in one night. Are you insane?
Like the whole movie has this aesthetic to it where it's always nighttime, and like
it's dystopia. It's grim and depressing.
You could just say, Eddie, it's always whatever time you want it to be because we filmed indoors on a set.
Yeah. So then the father character gets called to talk with the CEO character, and then the father quits because he's told that he has to repossess the blind person's eyes, who is now the spokesperson for the company. Am I wrong on this?
No, you're correct, and we've got to add that this part of this is because the blind Meg, the spoke singer, is the friend of Nathan's dead wife, who Roddy, the CEO, is also in love with, and who he secretly killed.
There's also connected.
There's also
we need one of those crazy stalker boards with all the lines all over the place.
Okay, and there's also 3 other characters that are like, I don't even know if they're worth mentioning, but you have to. I feel like the 2 brothers that are the CEO's sons, and then their sister.
Well, that's the linchpin of the plot, which I kind of feel. I can't believe I just said that, but. The villain's motivation is that
you got Eric, you got Don Jr., and then you got Ivanka.
We've got this corrupt CEO and his 3 worthless kids, 2 boys and a girl. Does that sound familiar? But the point is that, he's dying of plot convenience disease, basically, and he doesn't want to leave his company to his kids because they're freaking useless. So he's decided he's going to leave it all to Shiloh. Because she's the daughter of the girl he loved, and maybe possibly his own biological daughter. I don't know. That's where it gets confusing.
Well, I mean, how else would he know that she doesn't have the blood disease? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
how did he know
everywhere and nowhere?
How did he know that?
How did
He's got screens all over his office.
Yeah, apparently Nathan gave out the word that his daughter died with his wife. So a lot of people don't even know she exists. So. The more I try to make sense of this plot, the less it makes sense.
It's operatic in the same way as Shakespeare. Like, you kind of just go with it in the same way like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then it ends in the big genetic opera, Gene Co's opera, and everyone dies.
Except Shiloh.
Except Shiloh, who finds out that she's not really sick after all. It was just a lie her dad told her to keep her weak and dependent on him. Which is honestly a pretty decent twist ending, I think.
But we get the bad ending though, because then she doesn't accept the offer to take on the company and like dismantle it, and instead she lets the crazy brothers and sister take the company, which I'm assuming only makes the world a worse place to live in.
Yeah, the ending, it's like okay, and then what?
Andrew, it sets up for a sequel and a prequel that they 100% were sure they were gonna get.
If this thing means anything, it's definitely not a prequel. I mean, they lay out everything in the first, 5 minutes in a comic book form.
What do you guys think of that comic book thing?
And then they do it again by having the narrator tell you everything they told you in the comic book.
I think the comic book is the best part of the entire thing. And if they did the entire movie like that, I would have liked it more.
Yeah. It's a good device, but they also repeat everything they do in the comic books, like flashbacks and things like that. So it's like, okay, they don't really trust you to know what's going on in this movie. And after we just explained that, I don't think I blame them.
Also, all the visuals in this are awful, and I hate them. They look like crap.
So
it's very oversaturated.
Well, yeah, the general cinematography looks like Saw, which makes sense.
Looks like the worst aspects of Saw.
Yes.
And they even do, the constant flashes to newspapers. That is just, a constant thing, especially near the second half, I feel like. They're just like, oh, all these things are happening. Which, again, this is supposed to take place in one day. Why are there all these newspaper headings about everything that's happening?
I mean, they still got, social media. It's just in newspaper form.
Yeah, it's newspaper Facebook.
Now, I want to give the director some credit because I am a fan of his work and him as a director, Darren Lynn Bousman. And this really was a labor of love between him, Terrence Dudek, and Darren Smith, and all of them coming together. And almost all the VFX was done pro bono, just because the VFX company loved the idea of the film and wanted to see it all come together. Everything was done on a favor. Like Paris Hilton brought in her entire wardrobe as well as many of the other extras. It kind of gave me vibes of like film school for me, like everyone coming together to try to bring this all together, and it kind of brings a tear to my eye that they didn't put work into the story.
The concept alone is amazing.
Yes.
The idea of a repo person coming to murder you because...
Wasn't there a non-musical movie like about 5 or 6 years ago that was basically this exact concept? People have organs that they have to finance, and then if they can't pay them, some guy comes and kills them and repossesses the stuff?
Yes, it was literally like a year and a half after this movie, and it was starred Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker, and it was called Repo Man.
Repo Man?
Yeah. Not to be confused with Repo Man, which was a movie in the 80s.
Yeah, which isn't the same thing.
I agree.
I don't know. I think the concept is great, and all of the best scenes are when he's dressed as the Repo Man and ripping people's guts out. And that's kind of what I wanted the entire thing to be, but then they have all this crap with the daughter, and like, I don't care about that stuff.
I think the daughter stuff works. It's the other stuff. It's the comedy relief scenes and the
two brothers are annoying as fuck. I'm sorry. But you have...
Well, yeah, but they have to be, because then otherwise the plot doesn't make sense.
You know, they're very one note. You have Luigi, who's basically the guy who will stab anyone at no provocation, and then you have Pavi, who is, you know, basically an oversexed ladies' man who, like, wears women's skin on his faces.
As you said, Eric Trump.
And then you have the daughter Amber, who's Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
You didn't even really have to have those characters. You could have just had the CEO not have any kids, and then that's just it.
Yeah, that probably would have been a little bit more of a streamlined way to do it. But let's not... Like, we described this story, and it feels like it should be like 2.5 hours long. This is a fast 97 minutes. This is a brisk film to watch.
Yeah, well, they rushed through the plot.
Yeah, they rushed through a lot of things. Like I said, we don't really know how Roddy knows who Shiloh is or why he's so interested in her. You know, there's kind of this hint that Nathan has this split personality with the Repo Man, but it's never really explored. And I really wish they had done that, because I really think Anthony Stewart Head is one of the best things about this movie. In fact, he was my first saving grace on Musical Hell. He's the person who I think elevates everything. And, you know, obviously, if you haven't heard him sing, he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Well, the split personality thing was something that he came up with on the set. It was not supported by the script. Like, if you actually read his lines, it is literally just a straightforward thing. But he's like, no, the Repo Man is a different person than Nathan. They walk different, they act different, they speak different, they sing different. And they were like, all right, whatever, man.
Apropos of nothing, has he ever done Sweeney Todd? Because this is a very Sweeney Todd performance.
He would have knocked Sweeney Todd out of the park. Imagine if they made Sweeney Todd on a smaller budget, a little bit more realistic and grounded in casting. Well, Anthony Stewart Head is in Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, he's in it for 1 second because they cut his part.
Yeah, he was supposed to be one of the ghosts that show up and haunt Sweeney Todd throughout it. He was supposed to get a shave later and haunt Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, that was back when they were actually going to do the ballad, which would have kicked ass because it would have had Christopher Lee in it.
Yeah, I've read the script of how it was going to be. It wouldn't have worked, but I would have been happy to see it. Like, these throat-slit ghosts following Sweeney Todd around and forcing him to slit the throat of the next person. Like, that was what I'm like, that wouldn't have worked. That wouldn't have been good.
Yeah, I don't think you can have Sweeney Todd, manipulated by actual ghosts. I mean, it's his own crazy. That's what's driving him.
Yeah, and I feel like it took the power away from Sweeney Todd. And also, seeing him sing, well, what happens then? Well, who's to say? And I don't want you to give it away. It's a weird line for a film. Well, I kind of want to talk very briefly about Paul Sorvino, who I think is also another saving grace of this movie.
He's okay.
Who is this?
I mean, he's obviously enjoying his role.
Oh, he loves it.
His singing is, it's not terrible.
He is the basic tenor man.
Yeah. And he puts on this weird Italian accent for some reason in about half his songs.
Is that not his actual accent?
It's close to his actual accent. because, you know, he's like the Goodfellas guy or the whatever Italian movie. But the only relation really I have to him outside of this and The Devil's Carnival and The Devil's Carnival 2 is a segment in Patti LuPone's biography where
Wait, what?
he replaced Chaim Topol as the baker in The Baker's Wife. Halfway through like the worst like preview and like rehearsal process in the world, like Topol was kicked off for like sexually assaulting women, and which is fucked. And then he comes in and he's like super full of bravado and being like, "Come on guys, let's pipe up, let's do better." And they're like, "Fuck you, you don't know what we've been through. Get out of here."
You all need to read Patti LuPone's memoirs if you haven't yet, by the way.
Yes, please. It sums her up pretty well. I feel like that is a very unbiased portrayal of most things that happened. Sarah Brightman. I think, strangely, she is the most iconic part of this. I don't know if her screen presence is incredible, but she
I like
is
it when she
iconic.
dies.
I have a theory that Sarah Brightman was hired about 60% for her voice and like 40% for her eyes. Because she has big eyes, and you know, they are every scene she's in, they have got like these huge ass eyelashes or like shadow for years on them. They are really drawing attention to her eyes, and so yeah. But
I thought she was wearing contacts or something.
well, she is.
Those
She's
are her
kind of like
real
got
eyes?
well, she's got like cyber eyes, so she does have contacts in. But yeah, they do everything they
show
can to draw
Andrew-
attention to the fact that she has these weird, freaky eyes.
Bree, pull up a picture of Sarah Brightman right now so you can see what her real eyes look like. Because I feel like that's super important.
But
And
Sarah
to think
Brightman
that
has never been the best actress. Let's be honest with it.
No.
Her death was amazing in this, though.
It's it's a very fittingly operatic death. So
She pulls her eyes out.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Stabs herself in the eyes, watches the blood come out, and then yanks them out violently. It is absolutely brutal.
And then Paul
Phenomenal.
Sorvino cuts her fly wires, and she falls onto a wrought iron fence and dies.
Yeah, in front of an audience that doesn't even like react.
Yeah,
They're just like, oh my
this is the
goodness.
ultimate all part of the show audience. You know, in the movies where, you know, some crazy shit is happening in the production and nobody does anything, it's like, oh, it's all part of the show. That's, you know, they just sit here through all this crazy shit that's happening. Two people, you know, Sarah Brightman dies, the Repo Man gets hamstringed, there's blood all over the place, and they're like, oh, cool, popcorn.
But the
It's all
only
part
thing
of
they
the- all part
boo,
of the
the
show.
only thing they boo is when Paris Hilton's face falls off. That's the only thing boo-worthy.
That wasn't part of the show.
Boo, get her off.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Two people just died. Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Now
So
I'm
Paris-
thinking. I'm thinking of the ending of Coco, where you have like the big climax at the show, and then at the very end you have the guy coming in with the churros. Did I miss anything? I want that guy to be in this movie.
Have you guys ever like watched that end scene and just looked at the people in the audience? Like, you have the strangest story. This is what Sarah Brightman looks like in real life. She's got insane eyes.
Yeah.
Sorry that took a minute. I was denied access for a second.
Denied.
I was denied. I couldn't show you her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so beautiful, so beautiful. But yeah, like
And I think
her
I
face
think
is
she actually
80%
grew
eyes.
into her voice as she got older. I mean, it's not
Yes.
you know you wouldn't put her on the Met, but it's a pretty decent classic pop sound that she has, and it fits the songs they gave her pretty well.
Paris Hilton, though, she's been in the news lately about like her early aughts behavior and how it was all an act.
Yeah, I kind of, you know, I went hard for her when I did a review of this, and I kind of feel bad about it now because it turns out that there was apparently a lot going on behind the scenes, kind of like Britney Spears. In fact, I think, you know, every you know, young pop star that we made fun of for being, you know, oversexed and kind of dumb, I think we need to apologize to because they were obviously being abused at some point.
But I want to talk very briefly about the stigma that the cast and crew had about her before she came on and then after she came on, because she like did commentaries for this movie. This is like one of the most stacked Blu-rays of any like musical film I ever have. There's like commentaries on every deleted scene. There's 2 commentaries on the movie. There's like behind the scenes features going all the way back to like how they wrote the musical. Like, it is a great Blu-ray. And it's shocking that they don't make good behind the scenes. But she was doing commentaries, and she comes off very smart. She comes off as very aware of filmmaking and just down. She doesn't feel dumb. And then on every commentary, they're like, no, Paris is like one of the coolest people we've ever met, and she's like down for everything. Like, the stigma does not live up to who she is, and we don't quite know where that came from, but we were super against having her on until we met her.
It came from the people who thought that she could make a lot of money as the stupid rich girl.
Exactly. It was
hot.
branding. And I think she does well in this role, like, and she does a lot of things that make it work for her, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, is there anyone else we want to talk about in this film?
I don't know.
We talk about the cartoon sound effects during the gore.
Oh, jeez.
The heck was that about?
Yeah, there's like the scene where the two brothers are arguing and they're throwing around like brains and body parts and stuff, and you're hearing this whoop, boing, and it's like... I've never been a fan of stupid cartoon sound effects in live action movies, and it's like, okay, I'm done.
Someone didn't like Inspector Gadget.
If you're making Who Framed Roger
Rabbit,
then you can do it. Yeah. If you're making Roger Rabbit, go ahead.
Yeah, but that's Roger Rabbit.
If you're making the musical version of Saw, probably don't do it.
Yeah, but it kind of works in some scenes. Like, I think they work a little bit in the Thankless Job scene.
No,
the thing that works in
that's actually the scene I was thinking about the most when I was thinking it didn't work.
I actually like that he does the ventriloquist with the corpse. I think
that's fine.
That's like weird and demented and exactly what this movie needed to be.
But when he pulls out the intestines and it's like whoop 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 whoop,
yeah,
bing, like that's just dumb.
I am not a fan of Alexa Vega in this movie.
I mean, she's not given much to do is kind of the thing. Like, what she is given, she's not the worst at. I can see a lot of people doing worse.
Yeah, but she's not the best singer, and the problem is that this score is actually a lot harder than you might think it is. There's a lot of dissonance, there's atonal stuff, there's a lot of difficult intervals going on, and when you have somebody who knows what they're doing, like Anthony Stewart Head or Sarah Brightman or Terrence Dunich, when they're singing, it sounds fine, but when she's singing, it sounds like a mistake.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like in her first song, it's "I am infected," and it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, I know it's written that way, but at the same time, it's like, it doesn't sound like it's written that way, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Who would you choose? Like, in 2080 times, who would you pick to be the perfect Shiloh in this musical?
2008. Oh, jeez. I don't know if I would. I mean, the only person who's coming to mind is Lea Michele, and I hate her.
Ooh, my first thought was Sarah Michelle Gellar, because I feel like that would be like getting that TV crowd she could probably get it
might have been
to work.
Okay. Or who was the girl who played Tara? She actually has a pretty decent voice.
Oh shoot, I don't remember her name, but
Amber
I know exactly what
Tamblyn,
you're talking about.
is her name.
Mm-hmm. Or even. I agree with you to some points, but when it is working, I think she pulls off the teenage aspect, like 17 as ridiculous as that song is.
That's a much better fit for her voice. And I think the last song, which kind of has this Alanis Morissette Jagged Little Pill quality, I think she sounds better on that.
I don't think she's good at performing in song, because she did do Broadway before this, briefly. She was a replacement as Penny in Hairspray before this. And so she basically plays the same way she played that, which is screaming directly middle center to the camera. Because that's what that role called for. But I see what you mean, but there are worse players here. Bill Moseley. I love him to death.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And which one was he? Was he Luigi?
I think he's Luigi.
Yeah, he's not great. But sometimes it works really well. His voice is funny to me, like when he's like screaming "kill him" in the audience in the end. I can't help but laugh. And I love these horror like people just being in this weird musical. It is the dissonance of everything I was into in 2008, to be honest. Like all these like B-movie horror people. Like at one point George Romero was supposed to have a cameo as like the Reverend in it. Like there's a lot of weird shit in the background, and I
Joan
love
Jett
it.
has a cameo. She's the guitar player in 17.
Yes. Joan Jett is Joan Jett. I love that when she like passes out and like has these fantasies of everything that's happened in the movie, you get a shot of Joan Jett. Because fucking why not? But now that we've talked about all this for around 30 minutes, it's time for our wonderful favorite segment and Bree's 100% favorite segment of the show, Reviews, where we compare our opinions to the opinions of New York theater critics, and for this one, film critics.
Kyle Smith of the New York Post concluded there probably aren't enough futuristic goth rock musicals, but Repo, the genetic opera, is weak on a couple of things a musical needs: music and lyrics. Woof.
Bringing your top notch there, Kyle.
Mark Olson of the LA Times says the film is bad. Not good bad, tacky bad, or fun bad, just plain awful and nearly unwatchable. Nathan Lee for the New York Times declared the film feels destined to please a campy coterie.
It's a fancy term for...
It's the New York Times.
Like
they're going to use those words.
People, right, yeah. Of fans and no one else, and criticized the music, saying a few catchy melodies, some clever lyrics, or even a sense that the score wasn't just one long, unmodulated track might have energized this singular, inert tale. Tasha Robinson for the AV Club said, one of the main issues with Repo the Genetic Opera is that nearly every aspect of it goes on too long. The songs are generally overextended, which is a particular problem given that most of them are also atonal and dull, either chanted or seemingly assembled from a series of clunky, ill-fitting, barely rhyming lines. And ultimately, I spent the vast majority of the film either bored or squirming with discomfort over the cheap gore, the arrhythmic songs, and the phenomenally bombasted performances.
Bringing the best thoughts, folks.
Yes. Jay Hoberman of The Village Voice says, the grim finality of the ensuing...
Get ready for these weird words. I picked this one specifically because it had stupid, like
so I could mess up the words.
Yes.
Ensuing... Is it pieta?
Pieta.
Okay.
Pieta, yeah. It's basically
Pieta.
It's basically the image of Mary holding the dead Jesus.
Okay. Suggests the last act of Hamlet, or rather Hamlet 2, so embarrassing that for the first time I wanted to avert my eyes from the screen, although that might have also been because Repo appears to have been shot with a cell phone.
And this was in 2008, so that was a real insult.
It does look like shit, though.
Sucks. You know what? I'll suggest it to Jacob. He loves garbage.
I love garbage.
You know, it's kind of dumb to say that something wasn't made for the critics, but you know, this was a movie that was definitely not made for the critics.
Well, not even a single one gave the benefit of the doubt that maybe it was intentionally this way.
Yeah. They knew what they were doing, and they knew that a lot of people weren't going to like it, and they did it anyway.
I feel like critics are never nice to horror films of any kind.
Not unless they can, like, you know, have some kind of, you know, social commentary to throw in there. Yeah, you got your Get Outs or, you know, whatever. What was the one with the bride, Ready or Not?
Oh, I love that one. Yeah, that movie.
Or maybe
so good.
if the horror movie is like over 30 years old, and then they can finally go back and be like, yeah, this one's good.
Candyman's good now.
Yeah. Or if it's by Guillermo del Toro and it can be all arty and stuff.
Yeah, you can fuck a fish. You know.
Now, Crimson Peak, that's like, you know, serious goth vibes.
That is like my favorite Halloween movie.
I feel like those type of movies, though, if it's like a good horror movie, they don't call it that. They call it a thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's not a horror movie. This one's a thriller. That's why it's good.
A psychological suspense film.
So is this a horror? Is this a horror musical or a thriller musical?
This is a horror musical.
Oh yeah, this is like a gore fest musical.
Yeah. And I've said before, horror is really hard to do as a musical, but this is better than some attempts. So.
Oh, what me and Andrew are doing next week is another attempt at a horror musical that I think fails very, very hard.
I was shaking in my boots, my man.
Because Frank Wildhorn always makes you shake in your boots.
Ooh.
Ooh. But I really don't know if I agree with any of the critics. Like I don't even get where they're coming from most of the time. It's like atonal. No, there's like variety here. Like there's an entire song done in Italian. There's variety. It's not just the same song over and over.
Sarah Brightman's stuff is a lot more melodic, and as you're right, her big climactic thing is obviously very Italian romantic. You have like 17 is very punk rock, and let's see, then there's a lot of stuff going on in here, and it is atonal, but it's it's deliberate. I mean, it's...
Well, maybe we should do is hit the mid-show, and we can come back and do the music like we usually do.
You're right.
Sounds like we're about to get into that.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that. We're gonna take that pin, put it there,
yes,
and we're gonna
put that on the back burner.
And we're gonna talk about people giving us money. All right, let's go into a mid-show.
All right.
Andrew, tell us a little bit about Patreon and who's supporting us.
Well, Patreon is where you can go if you'd like to give us money and get some perks with extra content.
Perk. We
do commentaries. We're doing the Fosse Verdon podcast now, which actually might
I think
be
we should
almost
be
over.
Done. We've been saying that for like 9 weeks that it's almost over. It's never ending, Andrew.
It's almost over. And I mean, I guess you can request musicals and stuff like that, and we have all sorts of stuff you can do.
Yeah, you can get requests from us, or if you pay a certain amount, you could be a host with us and talk with us.
Oh man, I can't wait for that.
Andrew, who's supporting us on Patreon?
We have Melissa Goldman, Terry Needleman, John Donna, Max Lunig, Benjamin Lear, Lily Ackles, Peasant Chick. That's a new one. Who's that?
I think it's an old Patreon patron who changed their name.
All right. Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Taskier, Fire of September, Monica Thoreau, Mina Maneri, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Alice in Wonderland, B-Way Flicks, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Irigale Drouet Whiter, Christine Malmadel, Cole Birchfield, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, Holy Sticality, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, who is actually here with us right now.
She's here. We have a patron. She didn't pay the money. We just like her.
We just like her. I'm sorry, guys. Andrew Van Barson, Emily Stack, Teblam, Kyle Summers, Janae C, Kyle, Jess A, Skylar, Liz Lim, Corey Wilmarth, Allison Stuller, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, Elizabeth, John Vanals, Thespian, Ren Cullen, Alex, Jamie Holland, Wait in the Wings, Lady Malvolia, Spectacle Machine, Will Laurie, Jacob Stroop, and Rafael Martinez Salas. That's it.
They'll give us a little extra financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. If you'd like to join them in supporting us and get tons of fun perks, such as what Andrew's listed, come join us. And also, while we're in the mid-show, I do want to give a shout-out to someone who wrote, this really incredible email to us. This is the second really nice email they've sent us. Her name is Rebecca Nelson, and the first one she wrote us was about, lesbian interpretation of our Fun Home episode, and it was really sweet. This one has to be, at least 7 pages on how she would adapt Legally Blonde into a movie, and I think it's wonderful. She takes all the critiques we put into the show and, her own critiques, and, I think it's, one of the best emails ever, and I wanted to just shout her out quick.
And the one other thing is we have the merch store, which is on our website. I think it's just a link that says merch.
And if you look in the bio here, just click the merch link and you can buy it. We got a bunch of new stuff coming up there soon. I'm not sure if it'll be up yet, but we got some cool, funny stuff.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of stuff coming up. So
yeah,
check it out.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to the show. That was way too long. All right. Let's talk about 21st Century Cure, which is the fake opening number.
Why is it fake?
Because Genetic Repo Man is basically a redundant song that's cool. You tell us all about the Repo Man after telling us a prologue all about the Repo Man.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. It looks cool. It's a cool scene. We don't need it.
And you can finance your bones and your kidneys. For every market, a sub-market it grows. But best you be punctual with making your payments. Lest it be you on the concrete below. It's quick. It's clean. It's pure. It could change your life. Rest assured. It's the 21st century cure. And it's my job.
It's like they start off with this comic strip prologue, and I love at the very beginning, the very first caption is the not too distant future. I'm a huge Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, so it's like, la la la. But anyway, yeah, they have that prologue, and then you have this prologue with the grave robber that tells you everything that you've just seen in the comic strip opening.
But it's so cool.
Well, yeah.
He like stalks a girl and cuts out her heart. It's so goofy. I love it.
Yeah. And actually, this is actually a pretty good scene. They actually could have opened with this, and I think it would have worked very well.
Well, here I'm giving the fun facts. The movie did open with this, and then they added the genetic repo man scene, and then they restructured and added Roddy's scene where he finds out he's dying right before that. So there's a lot of restructuring in editing.
It kind of shows.
I mean, no, really. But yeah, I agree with you. 21st Century Cure is an actual opening number, and it feels like an opening number, and you get like this character in this awkward situation and learning all the stuff that we need to learn as well from this grave robber.
I feel like having a ridiculous amount of exposition for this is not a bad thing, though, because I don't think I would have gotten it.
Yeah, well, it's the exposition is uneven. You're not seeing things that have been restated like 3 times over. You're in the middle of a scene and you're like, wait, what? What's going on now?
But
yeah, this is the scene where they're like trying to hide from the police that are going to kill the grave robbers, and then he just kind of like does this death metal scream right in the middle of the graveyard.
It's fucking great and ridiculous. It makes no sense, but I love
really
it.
wish the grave robbers had more of a purpose. It just really feels like they show up at the beginning to do the narration, and then they show up in the middle to do
explain
nothing.
drugs.
Yeah,
explain drugs that don't even really come in later on. Like, it's not even an important thing.
This is a subplot that I'm not sure what the purpose is. They have this painkiller Zydrate that a lot of people are hooked on because everybody's getting surgery now. But apparently there's like a lower quality version that you can get, like, I guess, out of injecting, like, getting this neon blue stuff out of dead people's brains.
Well, what I thought it was is that the people would die during the surgery, and then they would extract the drug from their blood off their corpse. That was what my thought was, but I guess maybe that's not what it is.
It's a human element we have in here. And I can tell you exactly why this Zydrate plot is in here, if you guys care.
Okay, lay it on me.
It was supposed to be a bait and switch, where when Shiloh goes to the opera and she's like in that backstage area, she was supposed to go through a couple trials, and it was supposed to imply that her cure was Zydrate. So she had to take the Zydrate out of her mom's corpse with the grave robber who was like guiding her through it. And then it all was supposed to build and build and build until we found out she wasn't sick.
Okay.
So instead of just coming right out,
I shouldn't need supplemental materials to understand what the fuck is going on in this movie.
That was from the 3-hour edit, which the director's cut, as the director
Can we
said.
get the 3-hour edit? Where's that?
He's been dying to release it, is the thing.
Release the director's cut.
Honestly, I want a director's cut of this movie because it's like apparently like almost 2 hours were cut out of this, and I feel like that would have explained a lot.
I can't imagine it would make the movie any better.
I don't think better. I do not think better. I think
longer.
It would be Avengers Endgame.
This movie would be, I think, too much at 3 hours. Because it is very over the top and very 100% extra.
There's already stuff in this that you could cut out. And it's only 90 minutes.
21st Century Cure. I think it's great. The one effect that I think kind of works in a goofy like way is the pounds and miles of bodies that they go into from just the wall they break. I think that is like disgustingly effective imagery for this story.
And the graveyard robber's like, oh, cool, because he's like sitting on the Zydrate jackpot.
He's like, yes, I did it, finally.
Yeah.
So, like, is it implied in the world that there are more deaths happening because of the Repo Man or because surgery failures?
I got
think
the
Repo Man.
impression that, the backstory is that there was this huge epidemic of organ failures for some reason or another, and, millions died, and that's where GeneCo came in and gave everybody all their organ replacements and saved everybody. But I think, the impression I was getting was that this city was, like, built on all the corpses from this apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
Madame. All right, we gotta talk about the I Want song, if you could call it that, Infected.
I'm infected by your genetics. What hope as a girl who is sick? My dream of a life past this fence. It really makes no difference, 'cause I know that I'll never be fixed. Tell me why are my genetics such a bitch?
I do not like this song.
Is this the one where she just like, I hate my mommy?
Yeah.
She gave me
my
bad
mom
blood?
made me sick and my dad's keeping me in my room and I'm so miserable. I'm an emo teenager.
Mother, can you hear me? Thanks for the disease.
That is literally a lyric, people.
Yeah, I don't like this one. I also
It's
don't.
shot
I don't
so
like this
terribly,
one
too.
or the 17 one. I don't like either one of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, it is kind of shot badly, which is a shame because I think there's some really cool stuff going on in Shiloh's room. She's
Yes.
they've kind of got this, gilded cage thing going on. She's got stuffed animals. She's got posters of Blind Meg. She's got this magnificent bed with her oxygen tent on it and a piano
She
and all
got
sorts
bugs
of
all
stuff.
over the place. Like she's a real bughead, which I also
she's
kind of like as a
collecting
character
bugs,
trait.
which is kind of her creepy fun girl side, but at the same time it ties into the whole being collected and stuck in a jar or on a shelf somewhere.
What is up with the picture of her mom? Is that of her mom?
It is
That's
of
the
her mom,
hologram
and
of
it's
her
like
mom.
all over the place in their house. They've got like these weird, semi-holographic images of her mom, and I guess there's something behind a behind a window in the hallway, and I'm not sure if it's like
That's
a
her
mannequin or
mom's
her
body.
actual mom's. That's her actual mom's body.
Yes,
Okay,
because
then.
later they were supposed to find it and she was supposed to extract the Zydrate from it and use it as the
because
cure.
there's like a shot later on where it's smashed and like the dress and the body's gone because apparently Roddy wanted her to wear that dress, which is another level
weird.
of gross.
Yeah, it's weird.
I have no idea. There's some just strange things happening.
We should also
It
note.
is-
We should also note that the mom's name is Marnie, which is a nod to the famous Hollywood ghost singer Marnie Nixon, which I think is pretty cool.
I agree. I do want to talk about one last thing about Infected. It's an I Want song where we don't get the clear idea of what she is asking for until the final line of the song, where she's like, "Oh, I want to go outside."
Yeah, and that's
It
one of
took
those
us
parts.
four
that's
minutes.
one
Never
of those
heard that
parts
one
where it's-
before.
That's where it's one of those parts where it's, kind of deliberately dissonant, but at the same time it sounds like, is she singing that right?
Why would she want to go outside in this nightmare world?
Yeah.
Like, look out the window. Do you really want to be
there's
out there?
It's like dark and grim and creepy, and there are,
Like
drug
corpses
dealers
everywhere.
and corpses everywhere, and... But you've also got,
like-
these people in weird, funky costumes, too, so...
Yeah, I
It's
guess.
kind of like
I
the
wanna live the
Capitol.
blind
It's
mag
kind of like
life.
if the Capitol in the Hunger Games went ultra goth.
Yeah.
Let's talk positively for a second. What do we think of Legal Assassin?
Years roll by without you, money. 17 have come and gone. I raised our Shiloh with the best intentions. There is something I can't tell her, and I am lost without you here. I am only living out a lie. I am the monster. I am the villain. What perfection? What precision? Keen incisions, I deliver unscathed organs. I deliver repossession. I deliver. I am the legal assassin.
Okay, again, this is
Positive.
Nathan's opening number, and it's it's really good character establishing moment because it explains why he's overprotective of his daughter. He misses his wife, but at the same time he's got this dark side as well, and it basically summarizes the whole character very well. And like I said, Anthony Stewart Head's the best thing about this movie. So
It actually feels like a song where I agree with some of the thoughts that none of these songs really feel like songs, where this has like clear points. I think that musically it works very well. Lyrically, it feels like an insane person, like, Shiloh can never leave. She is my everything. Nothing will bring you back. That is the order of thoughts.
Yeah, and then it shifts into this melodic. The years go by without you, Marnie. Da something something. 17 have come and gone. And so
Where's my Shiloh with the best intentions?
Yeah, and there's obviously a lot going on in this guy's head.
And
just
him
wants to
slowly
kill.
becoming the Repo Man at the end is pretty cool. And I'm glad they didn't try to frame that as a twist, which from the trailers felt like oh, we all know what the twist is, but oh no, we find out 5 minutes in. We're good. Mm-hmm. Andrew.
Yeah.
You out?
What's up?
Anyway.
I was gonna ask your opinion on this song, but you just didn't follow me there.
I don't know. I feel like this one's fine, but I really like it more when he's actually killing people. Thankless Job is more fun.
Let's talk about Thankless Job then. There's nothing in between that. Let's go there.
Not really. I mean,
well, there's Mark It Up, but it's a really awful song, so
we don't need to talk about that one. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, let's forget about it. You'll be happier, trust me. Okay, Thankless Job.
No one ever thanks me when I'm done. How self-absorbed anyone can be. With a slice or a snip. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. With a cut and a stitch. Returning organs good as
this was goofy, but he's murdering people, so it's
It's
funny.
very black humor, and it is,
Yeah.
fun. He's talking about how nobody appreciates the job that he does while he's got this terrified guy tied up and he's ripping his guts out. And yes, at the end, he sticks his hand up the guy's chest cavity and, plays ventriloquist dummy for a bit.
It's funny though. It's just why would anyone thank you for this job? You're literally just going out on the street and murdering poor people.
That's the joke, of course.
Man.
My question is, what is the day-to-day job of a grave or of a Repo Man? Because some days he's acting like Batman, grabbing people and flipping them upside down, and then other days he's just got a guy in his basement.
Well, I assume it depends on whether or not they've been caught already. It seems like he's part bounty hunter and part surgeon.
Yeah. And I'm not, his cover to his daughter is that he's a doctor. I don't know if he actually, has this day job practice that as a front or, if that's just what he's telling her, so.
Also, the name Night Surgeon is way more badass than Repo Man. And they should just kind of use that.
Yeah,
Night
I
Surgeon would be
agree.
a great band name.
That's like kick ass. Why
I'm
did they
thinking
not
like
use that
80s
title?
hair metal. You know, you have a cover with like this, you know, big haired girl in a, you know, sexy nurse outfit with a huge ass needle or something.
I mean, you got a marketing problem here, you know. Repo the Genetic Opera, cut that shit. Just call it Night Surgeon and
The
put the
Genetic
Repo Man
Opera.
on the
What
cover.
is a genetic opera anyway? I'm still unclear on that.
I think it's supposed to be a pun on generic opera.
I don't think
Maybe?
so.
I don't know.
I think that they just thought it sounded cool.
That feels about right. Let's talk about probably the most iconic song in this show, Zydrate Anatomy. A nursery rhyme about doing drugs. I love it.
Grave robber, grave robber. Sometimes I wonder why I even bothered. Grave robber, grave robber. Sometimes I wonder why I need you at all.
Amber Sweet is addicted to the knife.
Addicted to the knife? Addicted to the knife.
And addicted to the knife, she needs a little help with the agony. And a little help comes in a little glass vial and a gun pressed against her anatomy. And when the gun goes off, Miss Sweet is ready for surgery. Surgery.
Grave robber.
This is like
This is the most iconic song in the whole show.
Well, this
Really?
it's the
Kinda
call
is.
and response. I mean, you know, this is one of those things. It's like the magic dance thing in Labyrinth. You started off in the internet, and somebody's going to come back with it.
Exactly.
Citrate comes in a little glass vial, and you
A
just
little
wait.
glass
A
vial,
little glass vial.
and a little glass vial goes to the gun like a battery. I love that. It's great.
I
Come
hated
on.
this one.
You suck,
Stupid.
Andrew.
It's
It is stupid. It is stupid.
It's stupid, but it's catchy
really
and fun. And this is, you know, it's actually plot relevant because this is where we find out that Mag is going to, you know, lose her eyes and get killed if she leaves her job at the opera at the Gene Co.
Yeah.
And in the magazine, he's got Mag looks like fucking Michael Jackson. It does not look like Sarah Brightman. And if it is, it's Sarah Brightman after a night of heavy drinking.
So why?
But like
why
all
does,
the pictures in this are like weird and oversaturated and stylized, so it's really hard to tell what the heck's going on.
What were you saying, Andrew?
So why does Amber have to come to these like black market Zydrate dealers when she is like the daughter of the owner of the company that makes the real one? Why not just, you know,
Probably
get
because
it?
her dad won't give it to her. I don't know. Either that or, you know, it's the rich kid slumming.
Well, I thought it was like
Disgusting.
she was like caught because in the opening scene it looked like she was caught with it, and then she had to like stay on the down low, and she started the support network, and so now she's stuck. She has to go get it from the grave robber now because
Yeah,
she
but
can't get
there's
it through
there's this
legit
thing,
ways.
you know, they tell us that Amber is addicted to surgery and that, you know, every time, you know, she's always, you know, getting stuff changed about her face and her look and stuff. But every time you see her, it's just Paris Hilton in a different wig.
If anything, that other guy has like he has like a permanent face thing clipped to him.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
you know, Pavi's got like his, you know, little literal face mask going on. So, yeah, I don't know if that was like, you know, a budget thing where they couldn't, you know, do as much as they wanted to with that character, but it's like, yeah, she doesn't really look like what you'd think somebody who's been through a dozen different surgeries looks like.
They look more like Tammy Faye, don't they?
Yeah, you know, you got the people like,
And you got
Or like
people
the
that
t-
look like they had 1,000 surgeries in like the background.
or like the lady in Brazil whose face is like all, you know.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Oh, that gave me nightmares as a kid. I think it's terrifying looking. But Zydrate Anatomy, Andrew hates it. Me and Christy see the fun in it because Andrew hates fun on. He claims to love cheese, but as soon as something cheesy happens,
This isn't cheese. This is dumb.
all right. Can we talk about? Does anyone have anything to say about Night Surgery, or can I skip it?
I just like the title. That's about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the titles of this are confusing. That's the one where they tell him that he has to kill
Meg,
right?
and he like,
Yeah,
and they
he's-
like go throw him into a set literally made of like paper bags on the walls.
Yeah, it's like plastic sheeting, and yeah, they have a warm-up victim for him and everything, and he just says, "No, I'm not doing this."
Except for he still kills the warm-up victim.
Well, yeah,
I mean, he didn't like have a wife that was best friends with that guy.
well, of
well,
course,
yeah,
yeah. You gotta have standards.
Yeah.
But
If you don't personally know them, it's fine to murder.
Damn. But I do want to talk about Chase the Morning, which I think is like a very high point in this, like the highest songwriting point. It is equivalent to Light My Candle from Rent, of storytelling that is both a song, gets a lot of plot across, gets character across in such a short amount of time. I think the song is perfection. Not the best lyrics in the world, but it works.
Let your life be your dream, integrity, honesty. It's too late for me. Don't look back till you're free to chase the morning.
It does work. It's a dialogue between Mag and Shiloh, finding out, Mag was supposed to be her godmother. And then, she's trying to tell her, don't make the same mistakes I did, live your life, kind of that generic inspiration stuff. But the neat thing is the hook is actually Mag's got this recording of Marnie singing on her eyes, and she projects a hologram of it. And it's, actually a pretty cool moment visually.
Yeah. Why did she go there at that time, though? Like, plot-wise?
I mean, I don't know.
I think she was just
That's
done
what
singing.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
I
Like,
think,
why?
I think Mag kind of has this impression that, she's not going to live through the night one way or the other.
So the most
she's
important
just
thing
kinda
is to
making
talk
her-
to Shiloh.
Well, she's kind of making her amends and trying to make her peace with that.
No chance for peace.
Well, yeah. Anyway, but also, Shiloh sneaks out and Roddy introduces her to Mag, and so Mag sees her, and then she wants to go back and talk to her, I think.
Was there something I missed, though? Why did they want to kill Meg? Was it just she didn't pay her bills? That was it?
They didn't want to kill her because basically she was their shill and she didn't want to do it anymore, and her contract said that she had to keep doing it as payment for her surgery, so that was effectively defaulting.
Okay, so they created a contract where she literally had to work for the rest of her life.
Essentially, yes. Because this is a dystopia, and there are no human rights.
Mm-hmm. Apparently not.
I want to talk about a few lyrical things in this that I feel stand out in a way that they don't in other songs. This has the Sondheimian idea of clarification, which I love in Sondheim's work, where they'll say one thing and be like, wait, no, I mean this. Where here it'll be like, state your business. Business? What do you want? I want, that is where it kind of feels like you don't need that, but it makes it feel a little bit more lived in, a little more alive, and it melodically works. And you don't get that much in here because they're often just writing cool sounding songs. Yeah. All right. There's not much to talk about unless we want to talk about Gold, Chromagia, At the Opera Tonight.
We gotta talk about At the Opera Tonight.
All right, At the Opera Tonight.
I'm sorry, I live for this trope. This is we're all going to the big climactic event, so we're all going to sing about what we're doing and what we want out of it at the same time, and we're all going to do it together, and it's going to be awesome.
A weekend in the country.
Yeah, it's weekend in the country. It's nonstop. It's tonight.
It's one day more.
I'm sorry. That's my heroine as a music theater nerd. And inject that shit into my veins.
That's her kink. Her secret kink is the quadruplet.
Yeah. There's no acts, though. It's a movie.
No chance for peace.
I hold no grudge.
I'll end this grudge.
I'm gonna sing.
I'll state the streets.
My final song.
At the Opera Tonight.
One more hit for the show. Make it fast.
Take it slow.
One more hit of the glow.
Don't get cut.
For tonight.
Tonight, I say.
I think this song is great. I'm very glad that they have Mag's part in there, which kind of frames like what she's gonna do in the second half,
Yeah.
in the last third of this.
Yeah. I think that's where you kind of get the impression that, she's, made her peace with, the fact that she's going to die and she's going to go out on her own terms.
So fun fact, she was not originally in that song in the first edit, and they had to like pay like a bunch of money to get Sarah Brightman in for that one like line where she's like, I've made my peace, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Originally it was just like Nathan saying no chance for peace and like all that.
Well,
so they
it's
last minute
good
wrote
that they
that
did,
other
because
part.
then you got this kind of neat little call and response going on between them, and it works much better.
I think it's great. The only thing I don't know if I love is just, everyone getting involved. We could have like not seen what Pavi and Luigi
Yeah,
were
we
up
could
to.
have we could have
Pavi
done
and
without,
Luigi aren't even characters.
Yeah, we
like,
could
who
have done
cares what they're
without
doing?
the kids again.
Man, Don and Eric just gotta put their ass in everything, don't they? No, I love that song. I agree. You're right. We had to talk about that. But we're all over an hour, so let's end on I Didn't Know I Loved You So Much.
Ah, yes.
Sometimes I wanted to cry when the people on TV were not quite the way we were. Somehow I guess I just knew. But I didn't know I love you so much. I didn't know I love you so much. I didn't know I love you so much, but I do.
This is actually a surprisingly moving song for this what we've just gone through. I mean, it's Nathan dying and saying goodbye to his daughter, and them reconciling, and it's actually a very moving moment. Especially where he says, "Shy, your mom is calling me," and it's just like this beautiful, sad moment there in the midst of all this insane, over the top gore. And I think that's actually, what makes this work for me better than it might have, is that it actually does have a moment or two where it pulls back and says, okay, we're going to be honest and emotionally real now.
Mm-hmm. Especially like when we've seen them literally do nothing but fight. Like they don't have one really nice moment until that, and that it hits harder because of that.
Yeah.
Because their relationships aren't perfect. Because a lot of times when you have this overly maudlin song in a musical, it's like these relationships that were great. The Mufasa and Simba, oh, they had a good relationship. And oh, it's sad that he's gone. Here it's like, our relationship is so fucked up, and you lied to me and I lied to you, and we didn't get along. And
especially
I still
since,
love you, though.
literally the last thing she says to him before this scene is, Dad, I hate you, go and die.
Yep.
Oof. And then he did.
At the hands of the man he cucked. So
I feel like
well, that's the dramatic opera part of it, and then Paul Roddy dies right after that because the plot convenience disease kicks in.
I feel like the actual ending kind of ruins this moment a little bit, just because it just cuts from this to the grave robber just going, oh, everything's still terrible though, so haha.
Yeah, it's a very at best ambiguous ending. Like I said, it's one of those things where you finish up and it's like, okay, huh, and then what?
Amber takes over the company with her two insane brothers, and she promises to make the company better.
Pinky swear. But anyway, there's almost kind of a Knives Out thing between the three kids at the end, because they've been bickering this entire movie, but when it's their stuff, being challenged, they kind of join ranks.
all right, guys, I think that's all we have to say about that. We got to wrap this up. So, Christy, what is your overall thoughts on Repo the Genetic Opera and your cheese rating?
My thoughts are, this is, again, I think I'm going to say what I said in my episode, which is that's neither as bad as it might have been, nor as awesome as it wants to be. It has its audience, and it's going for it, and I really respect when a movie can go this hard and be as, have no reservations about what it wants to be and do, and fuck what anybody thinks about it. So I really respect that. It's got some great moments, and I know there are people out there who love it. So I am going to say that this is goat cheese. Goat cheese has a very strong, distinctive taste, and if it's not your thing, you are going to hate it. You know, if you're not sure, you're going to taste it, and you're going to be like, I'm not sure what to make of it. And if it's your thing, you are just gonna, down that like popcorn.
Yeah, I agree with that to a certain point, but also, like, if you're in the mood for goat cheese, my God. Andrew, your turn.
Well, I'm very conflicted on this one because I almost want to like it and say that it was great and you should watch it, but I really can't in good faith do that because I don't think I liked it that much. I love gore and I love horror and I love the goofy songs, and it just doesn't work though. It feels like the worst Saw movie that's ever come out, but with music added in.
You haven't seen the Saw movies. This is much better than a lot of those.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. But it looks like a Saw movie in like all the bad ways. In like, I don't know. It looks like a 2000s horror movie, which they weren't good. And I guess I'm gonna give it from cheese.com, of course, Abundance Cheese, which is a French cheese, and I just like the name, and I feel like that kind of fits.
That's fair. That's a good answer. Our queen of the cheese, Juliet Antonio. Write that down and be sure to shame Andrew for not putting more work into it. Brianna, what did you think of our discussion? What is your cheese rating for what we had to say?
So I would say that there was Caddy and Crass, and
Thank
so
you.
much.
and Christy was here to sprinkle in some positivity.
That's not something I normally do.
Yeah.
But for my cheese rating, I'm going to give you a gorgonzola for all the gore you mentioned.
Jess is
Another
like
strong
pissed right
tasting
now.
cheese that is not to everybody's taste, I might add.
Beautiful.
All right, Jess, it's your turn.
It's my turn. All right.
I don't think you're that catty and crass, guys.
Yeah,
We
that
tried.
has become we are owning it because that is what someone's publicist referred to us in an angry email once.
And that publicist has watched every
That's a
episode
Pell
so far.
That's
so.
a Pell quote for you, Caddy and Crass. I love it.
Exactly. But I kind of love this movie. I'm very glad that it exists, and there's no other time period that something could come out like this aside from the pre-Iron Man world of like 2007, 2008-ish, where they were putting money into these weird little indie projects that might become something one day. The faith that they have, like the low risk, high reward value of these things don't exist anymore unless they're on Netflix, and then they're like, rubber stamped to death and like becoming like these boring everything the same. Like there's nothing like Repo, and we aren't going to get anything like this unless it's done by an independent company and something like that. So I am amazed that we have this film. I am grateful this film exists. Does it work all the time? No. Do I enjoy it thoroughly every time I watch it? Hell yes, I do. This film is so much fun. It's so goofy. It has some of like the greatest ideas I've had as like, if you had just pitched me individual scenes from this, I would be like, yes, this all works. Like the drug dealing like nursery rhyme is hilarious and like a great like comparison. And the scene where Shiloh calls her dad while she's snuck out of the house and he's murdering a guy and they're
That's
both
actually
lying
a
to
pretty
each other.
funny scene. They're like,
That's the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, and he says, Dad, what's that? I've got a patient. Will he live? It's doubtful.
It's fucking great. If the movie had more of that, like the dark humor of Thankless Job, if all of that had been like pulled together and they had streamlined all the rest of it out of it, this would be actually a fantastic show. But right now, it's a fun cult thing in the same vein as Rocky Horror. It's a breeze to watch. So if you got something you want to watch this Halloween, oh yeah, it's a Halloween episode. Cue the thunderclap and the ha-has and the music, Bree. Oh, you thought we weren't going to do it. We did it. It's playing. All right. So my cheese rating at the end of all this is a cheese called Largo. It is a triple cream cheese made with pasteurized cow milk cheese produced in Dante Dairy in California, United States. Very similar to a French cheese. This cheese is a combination of the rich Jersey milk and the creme fraiche. When fully aged, the Largo is nutty, smooth, and soft on the tongue with hints of mushroom. Flavors are pleasant and sweet with a delicious long finish because you keep thinking about this right long after it ends. And also, Rati Largo.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's it. Like, that's great, right, Andrew?
It's great. You know, I really feel like this could come out now. There's so many indie horror companies that probably would latch onto something like this and make it.
Blumhouse wouldn't make this.
They may not, but they also might. And if they did make it, they may not make it look like a shitty 2000 Saw movie.
Well, the thing is, this is a very gore-heavy thing that came from, like, the gore, like, you cringe horror that was, like, a thing in the early aughts.
Yeah,
It's really
torture
not
porn.
that. It's not in that genre, though. It just isn't.
I feel it feels crowbarred in because, like, in the commentary, the director was told by the studio, don't put in anything you can't edit out to make it PG-13. Which is a ridiculous thing for the movie we got.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you know what? Who does know, Andrew?
Our patrons.
Our wonderful patrons! Thank you guys for listening. Christy, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you? Like they don't already know, but go for it.
All right, musicalhell.com. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Tumblr. I'm on Facebook. I've got stuff coming out whenever this is. Usually first and third Mondays of the month, depending on what's going on in real life. So come see it.
Mm-hmm. She's also one of our patrons. We mentioned that in the mid-show, but thank you for supporting us and making the show possible.
Is one of mine, so give in return.
You are one of the wonderful people keeping Bree down here employed, so we thank you very much. I think Bree thanks you more, though.
Yes, thank you. Also,
I'm happy to pay Bree's paycheck.
I received a full-time position today, so...
Hell yeah!
Woo, yeah! Woo! Make it rain!
We did it, guys. It was
You
all
did it.
us.
You guys kept me in my house until I could find a full-time job.
We did it.
We're glad to hear that.
Yes,
Mhm.
but
It's a
still
scary
do the
world.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not leaving. You're
Oh,
in for
never.
this
No,
until
yeah.
we die.
You're not allowed to leave ever.
Brianna
You signed away your
Possess
eyes.
you.
She signed away her eyes, so if she decides to leave, we're gonna cut them out. We did it.
And then
we
you
did
can
it,
buy
Andrew.
them, or you can get them if you subscribe to Patreon.
Yeah, you get Bree's eyes if she leaves, so just know that. Thank you guys for listening. We went on way too long, but we love y'all anyway. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, at Musicals with Cheese. Please leave us reviews. We need them reviews to be more approved and more liked and more seen, and that helps us a lot. Follow us on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, our Patreon Musicals with Cheese, our Instagram Musicals with Cheese, our YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. We have a patron-only podcast currently about Fosse Verdon, and I think after that we're going to be covering the Muppet movies. So we're just going to go through all the Muppet films. Christy, would you be interested in guesting on one of them? It's behind a paywall, but it would be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Muppets musicals. I'm there.
Okay, you got that
Muppets
to
are
look forward
fantastic.
to. Like all the Muppet movies, and Christy's gonna join us for at least one episode, maybe more. If you got an email, just like the wonderful email I described in the mid-show, please shoot us an email at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our title card was created by the amazing Jolene Casco. Go send her some love on Instagram at Jolene Casco. This show is produced by the wonderful, the incredible, the perfect, the now fully employed Brianna Jones. Yeah! Impossible to do it without her. A special thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off for saying some of the horrible stuff we say. It's awkward when we criticize a musical and then realize, like, one of the people in that musical is on the network with us, and no one has called us out for it yet. Yet!
We're allowed to be rude.
We're catty and crass. That's why they bought us.
We are catty and crass. That is our catchphrase. That's our tagline now.
Buy the t-shirts, kids!
It's funny
All right,
now, but when Jess got that email, he was like literally panicking. Like
I was really, really sad.
Yeah.
I felt really bad. And now it's a running joke on the show, so guess time doesn't care.
It is.
All right, we got to get us out of here. We got to watch the Democratic debates or whatever's going on. We'll see you next time on
Bye-bye,
Musicals with
everybody.
Cheese. It's a thankless job, but somebody's got to do it.